They thought you would fight back. They were convinced you would seek revenge. After all, who wouldn't? When someone betrays you, hurts you, or plots against you, the natural reaction is to strike back, to even the score. They were sure you'd want to see them suffer the way they made you suffer. They expected you to retaliate, to respond with anger, to give them a taste of their own medicine. They were prepared for a battle because that's what they would have done. But you did something they never saw coming. You did absolutely nothing. Your silence confused them. Your calmness left them restless. Your patience was your secret weapon. They kept waiting for your move, but it never came. You chose to let go, to move on, to focus on your peace rather than on revenge. They thought this made you weak, that it meant you accepted defeat. But they were wrong. In reality, you were doing something far more powerful than they could ever understand. You were letting karma do the work. They never imagined that you understood the power of karma, that invisible force that silently balances the scales of justice. They underestimated the wisdom you carry, the wisdom that knows every action has a consequence, and every deed, good or bad, comes back to the one who did it. By doing nothing, you did everything. You left it to a force greater than yourself, to a justice far more precise and fair than anything you could deliver. You trusted the universe to handle what was beyond your control, and that's exactly what happened. At first, they were relieved. They thought they got away with it. They celebrated your silence, mistaking it for weakness. They believed they had won. But slowly they began to realize that escaping human judgment is not the same as escaping universal law. They started to feel the weight of their actions. Things in their lives began to fall apart. Relationships crumbled. Opportunities slipped away, and they were haunted by the very shadows they cast on you. They began to experience the same pain they had inflicted, but magnified. And all the while you stayed silent, watching the law of karma unfold its justice. They couldn't understand why their lives were falling apart, why they were constantly facing setbacks and disappointments. But deep down, they started to realize that they were merely reaping what they had sown. The universe was simply mirroring back to them the negativity they put out. You never had to lift a finger. By letting go, you freed yourself from the cycle of pain and revenge. You broke the chain of negativity, and in doing so, you rose above the drama they tried to drag you into. This is the power of the chosen ones. You are different because you understand that true strength lies in restraint, that real victory is in letting karma do its work. You are wise enough to know that seeking revenge only chains you to the past, while letting go frees you to move forward. They thought you were weak because you stayed silent, but in reality you were strong enough to trust a power greater than yourself. They thought you were foolish for not fighting back, but it was they who were trapped by their own bitterness and anger. They thought they knew you. They thought they understood how you would react. But they were only projecting their own fears and insecurities onto you. They didn't realize that you operate on a higher frequency, one that doesn't get tangled in petty conflicts and revenge. You knew that karma never forgets, and that time would reveal the truth. You knew that by staying patient and keeping your peace, you were setting yourself free while they were slowly becoming prisoners of their own actions. They expected a battle, but you gave them a mirror. They expected revenge, but you gave them silence. And in that silence, they heard the echo of their own actions. They had to face themselves, to confront the consequences of their choices. They were left confused, restless, and haunted, not by anything you did, but by the very shadows of their own behavior. And as they struggled to understand why everything was falling apart, you were already miles ahead, moving forward, growing, and thriving. This is the power of letting go. This is the power of trusting karma. This is the strength of the chosen ones. If you had chosen revenge, you would have become just like them, bitter, restless, and trapped in a cycle of negativity. Revenge is a poison that consumes the soul of the one who seeks it. It might feel satisfying for a moment, but it leaves a lingering bitterness that can never truly be erased. By choosing to fight back, you would have given them control over your emotions, your actions, and your peace of mind. You would have become entangled in a battle that drains your energy, your happiness, and your spirit. They wanted you to fight back because that would have meant you were just as broken as they are. They wanted you to react, to get angry, to be consumed by the same darkness that controls them. They were hoping you would be dragged down to their level because misery loves company. But you didn't give them that satisfaction. You didn't allow them to rob you of your peace. Instead, you made the powerful choice to let go and let karma do the work. By letting go, you chose freedom over bondage, peace over chaos, and growth over stagnation. You chose to rise above the drama and to focus on your own journey. You understood that every minute spent on revenge is a minute wasted on anger, bitterness, and negativity. You realized that by focusing on what they did to you, you were giving them free rent in your mind, allowing them to control your thoughts and emotions. But by releasing the need for revenge, you took back your power. You reclaimed your peace of mind. The cost of revenge is heavy. It demands your time, your energy, and your emotional well-being. It keeps you tied to the past, preventing you from moving forward. It keeps you focused on what was done to you rather than on what you can create for yourself. Revenge chains you to the very people who hurt you, making you relive the pain over and over again. But when you let go, you break free from this cycle. You release the burden and you free yourself to heal and grow. The reward of patience is priceless. By trusting karma, you gained something far more valuable than revenge. You gained inner peace. You allowed yourself to heal, to move forward, and to focus on your own growth. You chose to invest your energy into building your future rather than tearing someone else down. You chose to create rather than to destroy, and in doing so, you became untouchable. You became powerful beyond measure because nothing they did could stop your progress or take away your joy. When you trust karma, you allow the universe to handle the justice. You don't need to seek revenge because you know that every action has a consequence. You understand that what goes around comes around, and no one can escape the law of cause and effect. You chose to let the universe balance the scales, knowing that everything done in darkness eventually comes to light. This is the wisdom of the chosen ones. This is the power of trusting karma. Karma is not about punishment or revenge. It is simply a law of balance, a force that ensures that every action has an equal reaction. It is the universe's way of maintaining harmony and justice. It does not judge, it does not hate, and it does not favor anyone. It merely reflects the energy that is put out into the world. If you sow goodness, you reap goodness. If you sow harm, you reap harm. It is that simple and that powerful. Chosen ones understand this universal law deeply. They know that there is no need to fight back because the universe always brings balance. They trust that every wrong will eventually be made right and every lie will be exposed. They understand that patience is not weakness, but wisdom. They know that by letting go, they are not surrendering. They are simply allowing a higher power to take control. They trust that what is meant for them will always find its way to them, and what is not meant for them will be removed, no matter how hard others try to manipulate outcomes. This is the wisdom of the chosen ones. This is the power of karma. They expected you to seek revenge because that's what they would have done. They projected their own fears, insecurities, and guilt onto you. They believed you would react out of anger and bitterness because that's exactly how they would have responded if the roles were reversed. They assumed you would fight back because they couldn't imagine a world where someone could be hurt and still choose peace. Their limited understanding made them believe that revenge was the only way to regain power. Their expectation of retaliation was rooted in their own guilt. Deep down, they knew they did wrong. They knew they betrayed you, lied to you, or tried to hurt you. They were haunted by their own conscience, and they expected you to punish them because they knew they deserved it. But instead of taking responsibility for their actions, they projected their fears onto you. They convinced themselves that you were just like them, that you would want revenge because that's what they would do if they were in your shoes. They expected revenge because they were trying to justify their own behavior. By expecting you to react with anger, they could convince themselves that you were just as flawed as they were. It would have made it easier for them to live with their guilt. They thought that if you retaliated, it would prove that you were no better than them, and that you were just as vengeful and bitter. They wanted to see you act out of anger, so that they wouldn't have to face their own darkness alone. They were also afraid of the consequences of their actions. They knew that hurting you came with a price, and they were terrified of facing it. But instead of accepting responsibility, they were looking over their shoulders, waiting for you to strike back. They became paranoid, constantly wondering when and how you would get even. They were trapped in a prison of their own making, haunted by the fear of retaliation. But that retaliation never came, and that confused them even more. Your silence became their punishment. By not reacting, you forced them to confront their own actions. You didn't give them the chance to justify their behavior by pointing at your anger or bitterness. You didn't let them label you as vengeful or bitter. Instead, they were left alone with their guilt and shame. They had to face themselves, and that was far more painful than any revenge you could have. Delivered. They had to confront the truth that they were the villains in their own story, and there was no one else to blame. They never expected you to be so strong. They underestimated your wisdom and your power. They thought you were weak because you didn't fight back, but in reality you were strong enough to choose peace over revenge. You were wise enough to understand that reacting to them would only keep you tied to their negativity. You were powerful enough to walk away, knowing that karma would take care of the rest. They expected you to be like them, but you showed them a different way. You showed them the power of patience, the strength of silence, and the wisdom of letting go. They thought they could control your emotions, but you showed them that your peace was unshakable. They thought they could provoke you into reacting, but you remained calm and centered. They tried to drag you into their chaos, but you chose to stay above the drama. They expected you to be consumed by anger, but you chose forgiveness. And in doing so, you took away their power. You showed them that they had no control over you, that their actions could not disturb your peace. They never saw it coming. They were shocked, confused, and ultimately defeated, not by anything you did, but by their own expectations. They were caught in their own trap, prisoners of their own guilt and fear. And as they continued to fight battles that didn't exist, you were already miles ahead, thriving and growing. They expected revenge, but you gave them peace. They expected anger, but you gave them silence. They expected war, but you gave them love. And that was the greatest victory of all. Your silence was louder than any words you could have spoken. It echoed in their minds, haunting them with the consequences of their actions. They kept waiting for you to react, but nothing happened. They became restless, anxious, and paranoid. They were trapped in a cycle of fear, constantly looking over their shoulders, waiting for your revenge. But your patience was your power, and your silence was your strength. You did not need to say anything because karma was already speaking for you. Silence is a powerful response because it leaves room for reflection. When you said nothing, they were forced to fill in the gaps. With their own guilt and fear, they kept replaying their actions in their minds, wondering what you were thinking, what you were planning. Your silence made them question themselves, doubt their decisions, and confront their own conscience. It was in that silence that they began to realize the weight of their actions. Patience was your secret weapon. You understood that reacting immediately would only feed into their drama. You knew that revenge would keep you tied to the past, stuck in a cycle of anger and bitterness. But by choosing patience, you freed yourself from their negativity. You moved on with your life, focusing on your growth, your healing, and your happiness. You allowed time to do its work, knowing that karma never forgets and that justice would be served in due time. Your patience showed them that you were not affected by their actions. It confused them because they expected you to be hurt, angry, and vengeful. But when you remained calm and peaceful, they were forced to question their own power. They realized that they could not control you, that their actions had no effect on your peace of mind. This shattered their illusions of power and left them feeling powerless and insignificant. In your patience, you found wisdom. You understood that rushing to retaliate would only make you lose your peace. You knew that reacting out of anger would only keep you entangled in their negativity. But by waiting, by choosing silence, you allowed the universe to take over. You trusted the process, knowing that what goes around comes around. You had faith that the truth would eventually be revealed and justice would be served. Your silence was your strength because it showed that you were not seeking validation or revenge. It showed that you were not dependent on their acknowledgement or apology. You were not waiting for them to realize their mistakes or to make amends. You were at peace with yourself, and that made you untouchable. By choosing silence, you showed them that you had already moved on, that their actions could not disturb your inner harmony. You chose to respond with grace rather than with anger. You chose to let go rather than to hold on to grudges. And in doing so, you set yourself free. You broke the cycle of pain and resentment, and you chose to live in peace. Your silence was not weakness, it was wisdom. It was a sign of emotional maturity and spiritual growth. It was a reflection of your inner strength and your unshakable faith in a higher power. They were left wondering how you could be so calm, so composed, and so patient. They could not understand your silence because they did not have your wisdom. They did not realize that your silence was not indifference, but faith. Faith in karma, faith in justice, and faith in yourself. They were expecting a battle, but you gave them peace. They were waiting for revenge, but you chose patience. They were ready for war, but you responded with love. And that is why they lost. They lost not because you fought harder, but because you did not fight at all. You chose to rise above, to focus on your journey, and to trust the process. You let karma do the work, and in doing so, you won. You won by choosing peace over revenge, patience over anger, and love over hate. This is the power of silence. This is the strength of patience. This is the wisdom of the chosen ones. There is a divine order to everything. Nothing happens before its time, and nothing happens by accident. The universe operates on a precise timeline, orchestrating events in a way that serves the highest good. You understood this truth, and that's why you chose patience over revenge. You knew that rushing to seek justice would only disrupt the flow of divine timing. You trusted that the universe would balance the scales at the perfect moment, even if it wasn't on your schedule. They didn't understand this wisdom. They thought your patience was weakness. They thought your silence was surrender. But in reality, you were waiting for the universe to do what it does best: deliver justice with impeccable timing. You knew that forcing revenge would only create more chaos, more pain, and more negativity. But by allowing divine timing to unfold, you ensured that justice would be delivered with precision and fairness. Divine timing is powerful because it is unbiased and unbreakable. It doesn't bend to human desires, impatience, or manipulation. It is guided by a wisdom far greater than human understanding. You trusted that when the time was right, the truth would be revealed, and those who wronged you would face the consequences of their actions. You knew that the universe sees everything and forgets nothing, and because of that, you were able to let go and move forward. While they were busy plotting against you, you were focusing on your growth. While they were consumed with fear and paranoia, you were investing in your happiness. You knew that rushing revenge would only tie you to their negative energy. But by trusting divine timing, you freed yourself from their influence. You allowed the universe to handle what was beyond your control, and in doing so you found peace. They kept waiting for you to react, but you didn't. They grew anxious, paranoid, and restless because they couldn't understand your calmness. They were constantly looking over their shoulders, expecting retaliation, but nothing happened. What they didn't realize was that the universe was already at work. Divine timing was setting the stage for justice, and it was only a matter of time before everything fell into place. When karma finally arrived, it was unexpected and unstoppable. It didn't come through you, it came through life. Situations started to unravel in ways they never imagined. Opportunities were lost, relationships were broken, and they were faced with the consequences of their actions. The universe delivered justice not in anger, but with balance, not out of revenge, but out of truth. And the timing was perfect because they were least prepared for it. Your patience was your power, because it allowed divine timing to work its magic. You didn't rush the process. You didn't try to control the outcome. You surrendered to the flow of the universe, and it rewarded you with peace, growth, and blessings. By trusting divine timing, you proved that you were operating on a higher level, a level where peace is more valuable than revenge, and faith is more powerful than anger. They thought they got away with it because karma didn't strike immediately, but that was just divine timing at work. The universe was simply waiting for the perfect moment, the moment when the truth would be undeniable and justice would be inescapable. And when that moment came, it was unstoppable. They faced the consequences of their actions, not because you sought revenge, but because they could not escape the law of cause and effect. This is the wisdom of the chosen ones. You understand that patience is not about waiting, but about trusting. It's about having faith in divine timing and knowing that justice delayed is not justice denied. It's about letting go and letting the universe do its work. You knew that by holding on to anger and revenge, you would only be hurting yourself. But by trusting divine timing, you found peace and victory beyond anything you could have achieved through revenge. Karma is invisible, but unstoppable. It operates quietly, working behind the scenes to balance the scales of justice. It doesn't announce its arrival or seek permission to act. It simply does its work, returning to each person the energy they put out into the world. This is why you didn't need to fight back. You knew that karma was already at work, weaving its web of consequences, and that no one could escape it. They thought they got away with hurting you because they didn't see the immediate consequences of their actions. But that was just an illusion. Karma was already setting things in motion, working silently and invisibly, preparing to deliver justice in ways they couldn't predict. While they were celebrating your silence, karma was working behind the scenes, aligning circumstances that would eventually bring them face to face with their own actions. Karma works in mysterious ways. It doesn't always strike in obvious or dramatic ways. Sometimes it shows up as lost opportunities, failed relationships, or unexpected setbacks. It reflects the energy people put out into the world, giving them back exactly what they gave. It doesn't operate on human timelines or follow human logic. It works in divine order, delivering consequences at the perfect moment in the perfect way. They didn't see karma coming because they were blinded by their own arrogance. They thought they were untouchable, that they could manipulate the truth and escape the consequences. But karma is not fooled by lies or deception. It sees through masks and facades. It knows the truth, and it reflects that truth back to the person who tried to deny it. While they were busy plotting against you, karma was already weaving their downfall. You never had to lift a finger because karma was doing the work for you. Every lie they told was a trap they set for themselves. Every betrayal they committed was a burden they placed on their own shoulders. Every hurtful action they took was a seed they planted that would one day grow into a harvest of pain and regret. Karma was quietly collecting every action, every word, and every intention, preparing to return it to its source. When karma finally made its presence known, it was undeniable. They were faced with the consequences of their actions in ways they never expected. Their own negativity turned against them, their own lies exposed them, and their own actions became their punishment. It wasn't you who defeated them, it was their own karma. You didn't need to seek revenge because karma brought them face with the truth they tried to avoid. You understood that karma is not about punishment, but about balance. It's not about revenge, but about justice. It simply reflects what is, returning to each person the energy they give. This is why you remained patient and peaceful. You knew that by letting go, you were freeing yourself from the cycle of negativity. You were breaking the chain of pain and choosing a higher path, a path of peace, wisdom, and growth. Karma was working behind the scenes while you were working on yourself. While they were busy plotting, you were busy healing. While they were consumed by negativity, you were focused on growth. And when karma finally completed its work, you were miles ahead, thriving and succeeding. They were left to face the consequences of their own actions, while you were rewarded for your patience and faith. This is how karma works, quietly, powerfully, and inevitably. And this is why you let it do the work. They thought you would seek revenge, but you chose peace. They expected you to fight back, but you chose patience. They were waiting for a battle, but you gave them silence. And in doing so, you showed them the power of letting karma do the work. You trusted the universe, and the universe did not disappoint. Karma balanced the scales, delivering justice with perfect timing, while you continued to rise above the chaos. You broke the cycle of pain and anger by choosing forgiveness and peace. You proved that the greatest strength is in restraint, and the greatest victory is in letting go. You didn't just win the battle, you won the war. You won by choosing love over hate, growth over revenge, and peace over chaos. This is the power of the chosen ones. This is the wisdom of trusting karma.